The story of Harvest starts well before our first service in 2003. In 1990, Christina and I were living in Brockville, Ontario, and serving on staff at Highway Pentecostal Church as youth pastors. Through what I would call a number of divine appointments, God connected us across the border with New Testament Church in Messina, New York. Chris and I deeply witnessed to what God was doing there, and we decided to resign our position in Brockville and trust God for a way to relocate us to Messina, New York. After a year of commuting 2 times a week to Messina for services, the team there invited me to come on staff to oversee the Christian Day School, New Testament Christian Academy. We were able to get our green card, and we moved to Messina in January of 1992. It was while in Messina that God began to retool us for what we're doing today. We had the privilege of learning how to plant and establish churches while working with an incredible team in Messina. Early on while in Messina, Danny Bonilla, a prophet that prophesied over us, and at the time did not know us, prophesied that we would shepherd a people from another land, that those people would come to New Testament Church, and their coming would be the confirmation that we should be sent and start a church.
Hey, for there are a people who await, a people that I have chosen, even in a distant land, that thou shalt shepherd. And in the time and in the season when the word of the Lord comes upon the house, surely my spirit will blow you into that place, and the people shall still be awaiting, for my spirit will keep them, says the Lord.
Well, 12 years later, that word would literally unfold before our very eyes in the year 2000. A number of people from Cornwall and area began to come to NTC for church. Over a period of about a year, more and more Canadians were coming. And so there was a group of just over 50 people attending NTC from Cornwall and this area. In 2002, we started having small group meetings in Cornwall with those people. And Chris and I met in Norman Linda Auger's home with about 5 or 6 other couples, and each of those couples would become small group leaders later that year. With the oversight of NTC, we set March 29th, 2003 as our launch date to birth Harvest Christian Fellowship. We first met in the Emmanuel Christian Reformed Church for afternoon services for the first 9 months, and then we moved to Rosedale Public School for Sunday morning services. And it was just after our first birthday in 2004, having grown to about 80 people, that we began negotiations to purchase this building, the former St. Jean Bosco Church. By September of 2004, we moved into the basement of this building to hold services while we started renovations of the rest of the building. We moved upstairs on our second birthday in March of 2005. Only 2 years later, the adjacent St. Jean Bosco school property came for sale. We stretched our faith again, and God provided a way for us to purchase that building. You see, we had been using Proverbs 3:3, and we still do, as a compass-setting verse, setting our course. That verse reads, "Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck, and so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and in the sight of man." Mercy and truth. We knew that the school building needed to be purchased to fulfill an outpouring of mercy to the city of Cornwall. At Heart of the Family, a 24-hour child care center was birthed. Christina had had a prophetic word from a number of years ago.
I will cause, even in the land of Cornwall, for people to hear the voice of a woman full of compassion and mercy and wisdom.
I always thought that would be fulfilled by her taking a very prominent role here at Harvest. But no, it would be literally fulfilled. That word would unfold as she became the executive director of Heart of the Family, overseeing now a staff of well over 50 and seeing 300 children finding care with a heart of love and compassion each and every day at Heart of the Family. November the 8th, 2013, we had an interesting event happen. The 1.5 million BTU boiler, it heats this building, it blew up, literally. There was an explosion. The logistics for holding service while the boiler was being repaired meant that we had to return to the lower auditorium to hold services. You know, God so often uses natural circumstances in our life to teach us spiritual truth. In a way, going downstairs for services was like starting over again for us. Well, in many ways, we really did. The following Easter, 2014, we made the decision to go to 2 services. That Easter would mark a turning point for Harvest. We began to understand that we needed to do church differently if we were going to reach Cornwall and the area with the good news of God's love. And so we literally opened our arms as a church so that every person coming through the doors could belong at Harvest. And that decision literally opened the doors. We began to see God touch lives, people being saved, set free, and changed from the inside out. We decided to stay downstairs for another year even after the furnace was fixed, and entered into an aggressive modernization of our auditorium to provide space for more people to belong. And we moved back upstairs June of 2016. It's been an incredible 15-year journey. In some ways, I feel like, we've just begun. I'm so blessed to pastor a church that is passionate about the harvest, fierce in their faith, and eagerly expecting God to do even more. We look back and we say, thank you, Jesus, for your faithfulness, your goodness, and your direction, even when we didn't fully understand what you were doing. And now we celebrate what is behind us, but we eagerly prepare for what is ahead as we believe God to gather the multitudes of the people of Cornwall and area.